Hey, I want to share a few questions that have absolutely transformed me as a leader. In my early leadership journey, I used to think that strong leadership meant having all the right answers as quickly as possible. These moments would actually make me feel pretty powerful, kind of almost influential even. But I started to notice a pattern, and it took me a long time to see it, which was that if I was always the one with the right answers, that meant that every time I left the building, all the answers kind of left with me. So imagine this for a minute. It's the end of a very long day. You're already mentally tired. A person steps in a little bit flustered, and they step into your office, and you know that staffing's tight. There's a family that's frustrated, and they look at you and they say, "What do you want me to do?" Now, for years, I would just tell them what I wanted them to do because it was faster. It felt decisive. It made me feel good because that's what leaders do, right? But over time, I started to notice something. What I noticed was that the more answers that I gave, the more they seemed to need them. And even worse, I began to realize I wasn't building independent, confident leaders. I was kind of building codependent leaders. So I started experimenting with something that was kind of uncomfortable. Instead of giving them answers, I started asking them questions. Not big corporate coaching questions, just simple ones that could show up in real moments. Like, for example, when someone might come into your office in a frustrated state of mind, maybe about a family complaint, instead of fixing it, I might ask, "Hey, what do you think's really going on here?" Or, "What do you think they might be feeling in this moment?" See, at first, most people tend to pause because no one's ever asked them what they think before, but then they start thinking beyond the surface. Well, maybe they're scared, or maybe they feel out of control, or maybe I took it too personally. See, in that situation, one question can do more than any policy reminder could ever accomplish. Another one that I've been learning to use more regularly is, what outcomes are we actually trying to protect in this situation? Now, just think about this for a minute. When emotions are high, that type of a question can ground a person in the room. See, we're not trying to win, we're not trying to be right, we're not trying to be defensive. However, we are trying to protect our residents' dignity. We are trying to strengthen trust with family members. We're trying to increase stability for the resident. See, this is what I want you to catch is that when teams start to think this way, everything kind of shifts. And here's one that's even a little bit more uncomfortable. You know those moments when someone keeps circling around the same issue? Now I start to gently ask, "Hey, is there anything here that maybe you're avoiding?" Not with edge, not with accusation, but with genuine curiosity. See, one thing I've noticed is that most of the time in senior living, it's not incompetence, it's avoidance that creates the problem. Avoiding the hard conversation, avoiding taking ownership over a situation, avoiding discomfort. And then when a person says it out loud, it kind of just like loses its power. Here's another question that's completely changed how I lead. It's that moment when someone asks me what to do. Now I say something like, "Hey, if I wasn't here, what decision would you make? What would you do?" I love this question because you can almost see something in their brain click because now I'm not the answer, they are. I think this question might build confidence faster than any training manual ever could. What would you do? This one might be my very favorite one. It's when someone handles something poorly or even beautifully, I'll ask, "Hey, who are you becoming through how you're responding to this?" I love this because this is really pointing to what leadership really is. Every shift, every conversation, every moment of pressure, it's shaping you to become someone. The question is, what? What is it shaping you into? Now, hear me out for a second. I'm not against training. I think training protects residents. I think training protects standards and compliance. Training matters. But this is why I love coaching. Coaching builds that backbone. And in senior living, backbone matters. So here's what I want to encourage you to try this week. The next time someone walks into your office right before you're about to head out for the day with a problem, don't rush to solve it. Instead, try and ask a better question. You don't need a script. You don't need to sound like a therapist. Tell me about your childhood. No, just be curious, because the right question asked at the right moment can help you build a leader who doesn't need you next time. The kind of leader who can stand on their own 2 feet. See, that's when leadership gets lighter. That's when culture gets stronger. And that's when you stop being the bottleneck and you start being the leadership multiplier. Now, if you've made it all the way through this video, I just want to share that I have a few resources to help you with this that I would love to share. So if you're watching this on YouTube or someone else, leave a comment with the word resource, and my team will reach out to send you 2 great resources to help you increase your confidence with these kinds of conversations and these kinds of moments.